Happy video day, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. The Intentional Classroom and now also Cosmetology Exam Review are incredibly excited to offer you yet another installment in our review series. Everything we do is intended to kind of bring you back to those fundamentals, make sure you remember the stuff that you probably learned in cosmetology school, like back at the beginning, and kind of refresh you so that as you are preparing for your state exam, you've got the information in your brain. So whether you are a student, getting ready to graduate, a student who is maybe at the beginning of their education, or even a licensed professional, and it's been years and you just need a reminder, I appreciate you coming to our channel and watching us. As always, if you like what we're doing, please subscribe, please share. It is how we reach the people, right? It is how we grow our audience and really get the word out that we are here to help. So today's a quick little installment. We are really just talking about the 3 levels of infection control. I have some videos on ecology and the science and all that good stuff, but this is a really simple little concept that a lot of people get confused because they all kind of sound similar. So I'm just going to take a couple minutes of your time and we're going to talk about infection control because now more than ever, it is probably just super important in life, okay? Always going to do a quick little plug to help us grow. So make sure you are following us at all the places. So we've got the Intentional Classroom Cosmetology Exam Review. And then on Facebook, it's the Intentional Classroom course because I couldn't get just the Intentional Classroom. So make sure you're following us in all the different places. But the big one is that you have subscribed to this channel and that you're sharing it with all of your peers, your teachers, with anybody that you think this could actually help. Okay, so let's get into the nitty gritty. Infection control. Why does it matter? Well, I feel like this one should be obvious. Most of my lessons, I ask the question, how is this relevant to you? Why do you need to know it? Well, infection control is not just relevant because it's on your state exam. It doesn't matter what state you live in. It's relevant because it's how we stay safe. So if 2020 didn't teach us anything, or if it did teach us one thing, it's that cleanliness, sanitation, disinfection, all of that matters. So we are going to talk about the 3 levels of salon ecology, the 3 levels of infection control, really, that you deal with in the salon. So we're going to talk about sterilization, disinfection, and sanitation. We want to explore what the differences are between those 3 things and how we use them and why we choose to use them, okay? We really live in one of those as stylists, barbers, estheticians, anything in our industry. But it's important that you understand the difference between the 3. So we're going to start with sterilization, which this is the big boy. This is the top tier. This is the guy that really does everything, okay? So sterilizing your instruments will kill everything on them, every microbe, every organism that could possibly be on them, sterilization will kill, okay? This is not typically something that is mandated by the states in this country, okay? They use this in like hospitals and in medical settings, they use sterilization, but in salons, in barbershops, in spas, it's rare that we are held to a level of sterilization unless it touches blood, right? So if you are an esthetician and you're doing any type of tool that could actually, blood could actually be present, then you're going to need to sterilize. But for the most part, as stylists, at least, we don't really have punctured the skin in any way. Okay. Sterilization requires the use of an autoclave, or a UV light of some sort. So this is actually like a closed chamber, you guys, that, you put the instruments in and it kind of beats it down for some time and kills everything on there. Sometimes you see these in nail shops. Nowadays, most nail salons have kind of gone into a model where everybody has their own little baggie of stuff so that you don't have to worry quite as much. But certain medical tools, certain metal tools, anything that could potentially puncture skin needs to be sterilized. And that's why you see an autoclave here and there, especially in a nail shop, okay? Same thing, like I said, with estheticians. They can break open some skin sometimes. So you might need to sterilize when it comes to that. All right. The next level of infection control is disinfection. Now, this is really where we live, right? This is where we are required pretty much to disinfect everything that we work with, okay? So disinfection eliminates most, not all, but most of the microbes, most of the organisms that you might find on the surface of something, okay? It needs to be an EPA registered disinfectant. Remember, EPA is the Environmental Protection Agency, and they test the efficacy or the product's ability to do what it says it's going to do. Okay, so you can't just pick up any container and say, oh, this is disinfecting it. No, there's got to be a little like registration number on it that says it's EPA registered in order for the state, any state out there, to pretty much acknowledge that, yes, this is doing what it's supposed to do. Okay. It should be used on all non-porous tools and surfaces. So non-porous, guys, means things that can't absorb, right? We've talked about porosity. SpongeBob, absorbent and porous is he. That is the lyrics of the song, right? Mighty absorbent and porous is he. And so non-porous means that it can't absorb. So your shears, right? They are metal. They aren't going to absorb the liquid in. Your combs should be a hard plastic. They aren't going to absorb, or carbon, something that does not absorb things in. Okay. So if it's porous, you can't do that, right? You can't put a nail file in because it sucks all the chemicals in. That doesn't work that way. Okay. So we should be using disinfecting agents on non-porous surfaces. That could be your countertops, your shears, your brushes, all of your tools, your clippers, everything like that should be disinfected. Okay. Your disinfectant should be bacterial, meaning it kills all of the bacteria. It should be virucidal, which means it kills any virus that could be present, COVID-19. And it should be fungicidal, which means it can kill any fungus, which would be something like ringworm, okay? So it should be bacterial, virucidal, and fungicidal. And remember, like I said, it really needs to be registered by the EPA. That's how you know that it's actually going to work, okay? We tend to use barbicide. That's kind of the go-to. Barbicide is another one. Barbicide is a brand. Guys, if you haven't done it yet, Barbicide actually offers you some free certificates to show that you understand the disinfection process needed in a salon. I know they have some free ones. They have some advanced ones. If you work at all, if your school at all does anything with BeautyCast Network, they've worked out some deals with Barbicide to get you more advanced certifications. So Barbicide is really kind of the go-to in the salon and spa world. Hydrogen peroxide is also considered a disinfectant, alcohol, bleach, but they all are a little bit more difficult to work with. They require a little more soaking time. It's not as easy as barbicide. That basically everything is there for it to work the way it's supposed to for you, okay? When we disinfect something, it's important that we recognize that everything must be soaked for 10 minutes after being cleaned. So what does that mean? If you've done a haircut on somebody, you need to take that comb, you need to first wash it with warm soapy water, which would actually sanitize it, and then you need to put it in your barbicide and let it sit for 10 minutes. So when I was behind the chair, I always had a drawer full of combs. My sisters always made fun of me, but I dropped things. I'm a clumsy person, so I dropped the combs half the time, and I knew that once it hit the floor, I couldn't actually put it on somebody for 10 minutes, at 10 minutes after it's soaked. So I always wanted to have the option of just grabbing another comb and continuing forward, and then at the end of the client, putting everything in the barbicide to soak. So just remember that. Also, that barbicide needs to be renewed every single day. It needs to be emptied out and cleaned out and reset up the next day. This is not something that sits there for weeks on your station. You'll see, guys, at the end of the day, it's collecting stuff from those combs. So just remember that disinfection is where we live, okay? It's middle grade, sterilization is the top, then you have disinfection. It must be EPA registered, the disinfectant that you're using, and typically it's barbicide, and it has to sit for 10 minutes. These are all questions that could very easily show up on your state board, okay? So the last level of infection control that we deal with is sanitation. Now, sanitation can kill some microbes and bacteria. It's absolutely going to clean some things off, okay? And it can prevent bacterial growth because bacteria grows in an environment that's good for them, right? So it could be warm, it could be dirty, it could have other bacteria present, which is going to help kind of boost that up for them. So by sanitizing our stations, wiping things down with a sanitizing agent of some sort, we can kind of prevent it from getting out of control, okay? It's really just considered a first step. So I heard a lot in 2020, people kind of talking about sanitation requirements. Sanitation really is nothing. Sanitation just is kind of a surface level cleaning. It's the basic, it's the bottom of the tier of the 3 levels, guys. Now, I think it became so known this past year because, hand sanitizer became like everybody's like, hot thing. I mean, everybody had to have hand sanitizer because of COVID. But the reality is salons are much, much cleaner than sanitation. We really focus on disinfecting and even sterilizing in some cases. So sanitation is the lowest of the low. Okay. So just remember that sanitation is the lowest of the low. We sanitize before we disinfect and sterilize, right? We clean everything and then we disinfect it to make sure we really caught everything that we possibly can. Okay. We sanitize our hands. That's what we sanitize for the most part. Okay. So that's it. Quick, simple. Remember, 3 levels of infection control. The strongest is sterilization, then you have disinfection, and then you have sanitation. Your state board is going to ask you questions about this, and it doesn't matter what state you're in, the information is the same. So just memorize those levels, understand what kills what, review that stuff, watch this video a few times, and hopefully that's going to help you with just one more part of that state exam that you've got coming up. Okay. Thanks so much for watching. Once again, if you like what we're doing, please subscribe to our channel. I'm begging you, subscribe, share it, follow it, like it, comment. I personally respond to every single comment that appears. So, engage with the channel and really, help us get the message out that we're here to help. Okay. Thanks so much, guys. Have an awesome day.